Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Rhiannon, and today I wanted to do a fun video. It is the 13 channel shout out video. I was so graciously tagged in Aurora's video from Lavender Hazelwood Witches. I wanted to do it right away, but I was so very sick at the time, so 3 weeks later I'm finally able to do it. I can't believe that's how much time has passed, but I'm getting back into it again. I'm going to have several videos a week again, and yeah, you'll never know when I'm going to be uploading, so constantly check back. So let's dive into this. I did not keep a tab on like how large the channel could be, because I want this to be something that I enjoy, and some of the channels that I follow may be a little bit larger than me, but they are still by no means like massive channels either, so I didn't want to leave them out because they are full of so much knowledge and I don't want you guys to miss out either. So it's going to vary from little larger accounts to quite a bit smaller accounts, but I think that's okay to have a bit of a variety. So let's dive into this. So the very first one I'm going to be tagging back, of course, is going to be Aurora. You have to check out her channel if you've not. I actually had Aurora on my podcast last year twice. The first podcast that we did together, we were talking about the Astral Palace and how you can build your astral temple and the magic you can do in there. She shares her experiences with her astral temple, and I come across some revelations on how my practice was really quite similar, and I was already doing something that I didn't realize I was doing for quite a while. So that one is a really magical one to check out. And then the second podcast we share all about our paranormal experiences, hers involving some of her animals that had passed, and then mine are a little bit on the spooky side with different entities that I am still not sure really what they were. So that one's a really good one to check out, and I will have all videos and podcasts that I mentioned in this video linked down below, as well as the people's YouTube channels that I'm mentioning. Number two, this one is like one of my favorite channels, is Bethany, and she runs the Yogi Witch channel. This channel is so my vibe. She is a yoga instructor as well as a witch, and she shares different ceremonies and rituals on her channel from time to time, but the majority of what she shares is actually her yoga practice and gives you different flows that you can include into your life on a daily basis. But the caveat of this, which makes it so cool, is that she formulates her flows specifically for witches so that you can use them during a Sabbat or an Esbat. You can use it during a full moon or new moon or a dark moon, and it's embodying the energy through the yoga movements, and I just find it so helpful. So I actually do a yoga flow before and after most of my rituals now, one to bring up energy and then one to cool off, and I just find it so helpful, and it's probably one of the coolest things that I've come across. I have not seen kind of like that yoga health movement along with witchcraft and metaphysics before. I'm sure it's out there, but like I've never seen it, and I just find her to be so much of like a breath of fresh air. Her animals pop in and out of the video from time to time, so that's really fun and cute. And I really enjoy the energy that she's bringing, and I think her motto was like making magic through movement or something. I can't quite remember. I'll put it up on the video here, but I really resonated with it. The next one is Samantha Solaris. She is another fellow witchy creator, and she actually hails from Australia. So she's on the opposite side of the world from me, and she's actually right now in her winter as we're going into summer. And her channel, they share a lot about wilderness, wisdom, wandering, and witchcraft. She has studied for many years, and she's shared a lot about her personal experiences. One of the videos I really quite enjoyed was one on Hecate, and I've been really leaning into that goddess lately, and I feel like she's possibly calling out to me to look into her. So I really enjoyed that video, and I also really enjoyed, she has like this poison garden where she has more of like the poisonous plants that she cares for and cultivates, and I find it so beautiful. And she shares a different aspect on things. For example, she had a video on the summer solstice and how to celebrate, and instead of sharing the same old things that we would do for, say, a pagan or a witch to celebrate, like the regular crafts and the food and all of that, she took it from more of a metaphysical stance and allowed you to be more creative with it. So I'll link that video down below under her name. I really enjoyed it, and it helped me to break out of the box from the same things that I do every single year. The next one is Elderberry Sprout. This channel is the one that I go to whenever I need a little bit of inspiration for my grimoires. She shares her books of shadows, and she just puts different things in her books that you wouldn't normally think to put in. And I really enjoyed one of her more recent videos where she had did a different shape for her book for, I think it was like self-love or something. I'll throw a photo of it up here, but it was in the shape of a heart, inspired from like old magical manuscripts. And it was just really interesting to see a different shape of book and how you can go around cultivating your magical practice and not having it to be so specific all the time and having it to be so perfect. Really enjoyed that channel. Make sure you check her out. She's so very creative and sweet, and her energy is very upbeat and bubbly, and it always puts me in a good mood to watch her channel. The next one is a good friend of mine, Mavius Lynn. She is a ceremonial magician, and she talks about Thelema on her channel. And she has a few how-to videos on there. She's so incredibly smart, and it's really interesting every time that we get together and talk and collaborate how much our practices are so very similar. Whereas she's like a ceremonial magician and I am a folk witch, and how like our ideals kind of like align. So it's really interesting. I had her on my podcast as well, and she had me guest on her YouTube channel, so I'll link that down below, where she interviewed me about folk witchcraft, and I interviewed her about Thelema, and it was just a really fun experience. So definitely go check that out. Every time I interact with Mavius, I learn something new, and it really sparks a joy for the knowledge that I love so very much. I'm very much a type of person who likes to like hyper focus on something, but after a couple years of doing that, you know, you kind of fall off of it a little bit and lose a little bit of a spark for a specific subject. But every time I speak to her, I always have that spark reignited. So definitely go check her out. Next is Christy Witch. Her channel is just basically no BS, kind of like here's how it is, sharing her magical path and kind of sharing some how-tos as well. And what I love so much about her channel is that she includes her animals in her videos, so they kind of hang out in the background, her dogs, and she kind of put blurbs up with them talking back to her, and it's so cute and funny, and it kind of like just adds a little bit extra to the video and a little bit of comedy, so I really enjoy that. The next one is Anna Bellissima. Now, if you do get to see this video, which I'm not sure, but if you do ever get to see it, you are the reason why I was able to reach out to Mercury, and that's why I created that candle back there, a little orange one. So thank you so much for your videos that you had on working with Mercury. I was so, for some reason, very apprehensive to reach out to a male deity. For many reasons, but he is the deity that I should have reached out to for this particular situation and this area of my path that I'm on. So thank you so much for making your videos. I love them. If you don't know who Anna Bellissima is, she is a magician and she's also a businesswoman. So she actually helps other metaphysical and occult practitioners who are in business to grow their businesses and She does it both from a business standpoint and a spiritual standpoint. So I really enjoy that combination, but majority of her content on her channel is sharing metaphysics and reaching out to deities and sharing her experiences with different energies and such. And I just really enjoy the way she speaks. She is very poetic in the way she speaks, and it creates this energy in you where you just want to get up and go and do the thing. So thank you so much for your channel, Anna, and I hope you see this, and if you do, definitely tag back and tag as many of the channels that you enjoyed watching, because I would love to check those out. Number 8 is Panthera. I had Panthera on my channel, on my podcast actually. She's the Feral Wood Witch, and I had her on where I was interviewing her about her magical practice with her animals and how you can include your little furry loved ones in your magical practice in a safer way. So I really enjoyed her standpoint on things, and I gleaned a lot of different tidbits on how I can include my little gizmo into my rituals and spiritual practice and help protect him spiritually as well. And I really enjoyed that because if you don't know, we have had spirit activity quite a lot in here. At the moment it's died down, but when we do leave him alone in the house, I find he doesn't like to go past the stairs alone, and I find he does see and experience quite a lot, and reacts to quite a lot in the house, and sometimes it's not good, sometimes he gets really scared. So I've been including some of the ideas that we came up with on the podcast, and that sparked a bit of intuition in me, and so far it's been really working. So definitely check out Panthera. She's a beautiful little soul, and I love her videos. Next is Jessica the Moon. This channel is so beautiful, and I really love her channel because she shares her tarot bullet journal, and she does it on camera with you, and it gives me a bit of inspiration on different things to write in my journal. She does bullet journal setups and tarot deck reviews, and I just love that channel. It just really helps me get a little more creative. She's actually where I first discovered bullet journaling and correlated it to my witchcraft path. So thank you so much. That helped me so much in my journey, Jessica, helping me to organize my witchcraft and my paganism through my bullet journal, because I could not find anything else that worked for me, so I had to create something custom myself. Included on this list is yet another friend of mine, is Benta the Norse Witch. Benta is a Norse witch, of course, and they share all of their experiences through Norse paganism and witchcraft. They have a lot of beginner how-to videos on there, but what I really like about Benta's channel is they are not afraid to touch on the things that so many others are afraid to talk about. So they like to touch on things within their community that can bring up discussion points to keep the community safe within the Norse community, which I really admire. So I think just like the most recent video that Benta did was on the runes and which runes to avoid and which runes you can use within the Norse path, and that one was really interesting and helpful for me myself. Next is another friend, Ivy the Occultist, or Ivy Corvus. Now, Ivy is a chaos magician, and they also cover all things occult on their channel. They are an occultist. What I really love about Ivy's channel is, yes, Ivy shares everything about her magical path, and one of my more favorite videos as of late has been her I worked with a dark goddess for 6 months video, because that's something that I'm starting to transition into myself, looking for a dark goddess to take me into the underworld. But what I really love about her channel, on top of all of that fun stuff, is the sheer amount of hard work that she puts into her channel. She is like a full-time student, and she still posts several times a week, and just the dedication to her community there. On top of all of that, if that was not enough, Ivy likes to talk about things that are a little bit more intermediate in the occult spheres in the magical community. So that is really great if you are looking for a channel that talks about things that are a little bit more advanced. This is the channel for you. This is the channel that got me into actually working with servitors. I have seen them before and I've like read about them, but I never felt comfortable practicing until I saw Ivy showing her practice and explaining how she would go about creating a servitor. And just that assurance alone was enough to help me step my foot into like trying out servitors, and so far it's working out incredibly. So if you're looking for more of an intermediate type channel, Ivy is the one to go check out. Next is the Red-Headed Witch. This channel focuses on folk magic, witchery, and crafting. What I really enjoy about this channel though is it really helps me to relax and unwind. She has a very aesthetic vibe to her. Plus I just really find her very relatable and down to earth. What I really truly love about the channel is that her practice is very similar to mine in the fact that it is centered around folk magic, and I don't really get to see a lot of folk channels actually sharing their practice as in detail as she does. So I really enjoy that channel for that. And last but not least is Rhiannon Harvest. Now this is the very first witchcraft channel that I ever discovered online, and what I love about her is that I'm able to go onto her channel at any given time of day and be completely inspired or have something completely revolutionize the way I thought about something, or help me like find a different creative way of looking at something after watching one of her videos. So Sam actually posts all about witchcraft, the basics, and also her personal experiences within the spiritual as well. I really enjoy her deity videos, but what makes her really super unique is one, her creative mind and the constant search for answers and reevaluating things on a different level and not always taking things for face value. She's the deep thinker, which I really appreciate. But what I love so much about Sam is that she writes poetry about her spiritual encounters and her spirituality and her deities, and she actually has poetry posted onto her channel, and I find it so beautiful and I like to check it out whenever I'm in a different kind of mood and I need something to help me feel connected to my practice and connected to spirit. It's just a really beautiful thing to check out, and you don't get to see it very often. So those are my top 13 favorite channels to check out. If you don't want to do the tag, then definitely tag your favorite channels down in the comments below. However, if you've not been tagged in the video, go ahead and make the video anyway and tag me. Let me see what your favorite channels are. I'd love to see them. And if you're tagged in this video, I'd love to see your favorite channels. Definitely make a video if you are comfortable doing so. And thank you so much for inspiring me every day. And a lot of you on this list have actually inspired me to become a person online that is sharing their spiritual experiences. So thank you for helping me feel comfortable doing that. I hope you all have a beautiful and magical day, and I'm gonna go peace out and get myself some Earl Grey tea because it's been a long film day. I've tried to film this video probably 18 times over the course of a week, so I just really wanted to participate, and I was having a lot of filming issues with my audio, but I think I figured it out. So I'll see you very soon in my next video, and if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification. I post several times a week and you don't want to miss out when I post. Also make sure you follow me over on Instagram. I post a lot of freebies over there, as well as announcements before things happen, and I poll you guys a lot in my Instagram stories. So if you want to get your opinions out there on what I'm going to be posting on YouTube, that's the place to be, so I can start getting an understanding of what you want to see on the channel. And yeah, with that all said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!